Andy, I'll ask you about your weekend here in a minute, but my weekend
Yeah.
was spent babysitting dogs.
Your dogs, other people's dogs.
I have two dogs
Yeah. We
and
get to
two
see one of them
cats.
regularly on this podcast.
Yeah, yeah, he likes to show up from time to time. Then my son and his fiance came up, to visit, right?
Yeah.
To go see they had a wedding in Raleigh. Really, it was just to dump their dogs off at us. They stayed for a couple hours, and it was fine. We gave the appearance that they really wanted to see us, but in fact, really just wanted to use us to be a dog kennel.
Save a
So
couple $100 on the kennel.
yeah, exactly. And it's just not just one dog or two dogs, it's three dogs. So we had
Oh,
I
wow.
had five dogs here, Andy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And not small dogs, if I recall.
there's one small but two other good sized dogs, and
Yeah.
one a pretty big dog, but he's probably pretty easy to deal with. But it's fun because usually in the morning before we pod, I I walk the dogs, my two dogs, and then I do my own walk for like 20, 30 minutes or whatever. Today, I had to take three shifts of dog walk, two at a time, and then the last one was just one. Gee whiz, Andy.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it
Well,
was
you're being a good dog watcher and a good dad.
yeah, and I'm now trying to do this podcast while overseeing one to make sure they don't do anything stupid in this or something. So,
Yeah, I do the
so
same thing with me too, so it's hard.
yeah. So that was my weekend, Andy. How was your weekend?
It was good, Dave. I got back in. We were talking last week about my trip down to Oklahoma. Got in almost 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. Got to spend Saturday, Dave, at our alma mater, watching my lovely niece graduate from George Mason University in a sea of green as thousands of children completed their university journey and graduated, joining over 250,000 George Mason graduates. So it was fun to be out there and see that, and great weather for it and celebrate her. And then yesterday, Dave, I got a chance to do something I know you and I are both excited about. I got out there and did a little ruck training.
Mm.
So I thought there's a valuable lesson I learned along the way. I went out just for a few miles. It was beautiful yesterday. I was like, I finished lifting. I was like, I'm gonna go instead of riding the bike, I'm gonna go get a few miles in because we can talk about the event we're planning for next week. So out walking, I was about 3.5 miles in, and I saw two not older, I mean, younger than me, but two adult women that were struggling with a flat tire. They looked like they didn't know where to start. They had stuff out on the ground, and we're just kind of like looking at it, like what do we do? Which to be fair, if you're going to change a tire, it can be a little
Yeah.
intimidating. It's a little anxiety when you from bursting the tire, and so I stopped and I changed the tire for them, showed them what I was doing. It's a remarkably simple thing to do. It's a remarkably simple thing to do, but you have to know like the basics of what to do. As I did that, I was thinking it's something that everybody should know how to do. So if you're listening and you've never changed a tire, maybe consider trying it. Just take it off and put it back on your vehicle. If you don't want to do that, maybe just pull it up on YouTube. Just like at least watch it being done so you understand the simplicity of it, some safety considerations that go along with it, and the fact that you can do it. Like you can definitely do it. Make sure you've got a spare tire, make sure you've got the basic tools you need, which aren't a lot, it's two or three things. And just be able to, it's just a safety concern. I've burst a tire driving cross country early in the morning hours. I've done that, I've burst tires a number of times along the way. You don't want to be stranded on the highway at night with a burst tire, waiting on the goodwill of some stranger at 2 in the morning, or waiting on a tow truck for several hours. So anyway, that was a valuable lesson learned, Dave. And I got a great ruck in some beautiful Virginia weather.
Yeah, it's a valuable habit. Like I've made a point to take all my kids out and show them how to like change a tire. Now, whether they retained it or not, who knows? Especially my daughter. I don't know if she retained it or she's like, "Oh, Dad." But there are these life skills that you
Yeah,
really do need to have, and it's fascinating in a lot of respects we may not always have them. And I'm recalling this guy on who goes on YouTube and he teaches young men just basic things like how to tie a tie, how to do these basic things
yeah,
because he didn't have a dad and so he had to learn it all himself. And so he thought what a good way to, you know, tear it down. And I think you're right. I mean, going to YouTube or something, you could do anything. How do I fix my washer, or how do I
Yeah,
fix my, whatever. You can you generally find it. I usually go there first
yeah.
on most things, but yeah,
You're
that's
already there watching Andrew Tate videos and on your journey into the manosphere, so it's an easy
of
it's
course.
an easy click for you.
It's the easy click for me. Easy click for me. All right, Andy, let's jump into our pod for today, our various segments. I want to start with this one, Andy. I watched Project Hail Mary this weekend.
Yes,
After
yes,
months of, it seems like months, several weeks of hearing about it, and you went and saw it, and you gave it very good reviews on this podcast. We finally saw it. It's on home video now, and so we just bought it. $25 to buy the video, the movie. But if I would have gone to the theaters, it would have been 30, because me, my wife, and my youngest daughter watched it.
yeah,
And that would have been, we probably would have been pushing $50 on that. So I thought that was a win there already. I started off with a win, Andy.
yeah.
So
That's right. Easy money savings.
easy money. But Andy, my review of the movie was excellent. My
Yeah,
wife loved it. My
yeah.
daughter got a little emotional at times and a little, sad at times, but
Your daughter's
um
not the only one, just for the record.
yeah, but it was really, really good. So
Yeah,
I kind of compare it a little bit to uh what was that Tom Hanks movie when he's a Castaway,
what is
you
it? The
know,
volleyball.
yeah, where he spends a lot of time by himself and he's acting by himself. Ryan Gosling is acting by himself.
Yeah,
But it was really good, Andy.
yeah.
Good.
It really was good. I mean, I think the idea is. I think we can say this without ruining it for anybody, but the idea is Earth is dying, and there's this Hail Mary, as we refer to it in football, where you just throwing the ball up in the air and praying somebody catches the football on your team. And they throw Ryan Gosling into space after a series of events to try and save humanity. And just this journey, it's what could be a very boring movie is a really touching movie, really well done. He does have an alien companion, and so you get to experience their connecting and developing a relationship and caring for one another. And it does pull on the heartstrings, and Gosling does a fantastic job. And yeah, there's other actors in parts of the movie, but it's largely a Ryan Gosling movie, and he really owns it and does a fantastic job. He delivers, and it's a good show.
Yeah, I mean he definitely delivered. And this is the thing about Ryan Gosling. He's been in these movies before. He's been in a lot of movies, a lot of shows. Um and but he's always been maybe with another strong lead with him. This is him carrying the movie himself.
Yeah,
And it's killing at the box office. The movie is long. It's 2.5, 2 hours, 45 minutes long. But man, it goes pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So,
I'm
but it
glad.
got me thinking, Andy. Ryan Gosling is one of my now favorite actors. He's
Yeah,
been that for a long time because he's played such great roles, and he's done it exceptionally well. Now, he's somewhat of a goof and somewhat, but he plays that role very well. I love him as actor. So I had to come up with my top five list, Andy.
your Ryan Gosling top five.
My Ryan Gosling top five. And
Let's hear it, Dave. Let's
you
hear it.
you,
Let's.
you want to hear this top five?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Okay, all right. I'm going to give it to you because I think I mean I just have to say it was like there's so many things that he does that I really enjoy. And I did top five and I did a couple honorable mentions, Andy.
No,
So
you went deep. You went deep.
yeah, now look, I mean a lot of people there's going to be some omissions here because he's done a lot of really good movies. I'm not going to get into the heartthrob Ryan Gosling, the ones from The Notebook and things like that. Like I don't. Those are good movies, really. Like he's done that, but I'm not going there, Andy.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to go with a lot of what he's done in the last 10 years. So, in no particular order, I'm not going to rank these in any particular order.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just going to say, Project Hail Mary is up there. I
Yeah.
mean, it's in the top five. Crazy Stupid Love. This is with Steve Carell. This is also with Julianne Moore, a bunch of other Kevin Bacon's in there. He just plays this icon. He's this character who's, you know, Steve Carell's character is going through a divorce, or he thinks he's going through a divorce, and so he meets up with Ryan Gosling, who teaches him how to, pick up ladies. And there's a funny scene at the end where all these things come together. Really, really great movie, but he does a great job there.
Yeah.
Um, the Nice Guys. This is with Russell Crowe, in which they're somewhat like he's unwittingly thrown into this detective caper. It's got a lot of good humor along the way, and he does just a great job in that one. So I'm going to do that one.
All right.
La La Land, where he shows off his musical and dancing skills. And this, I tell you, this is just, I really, if you haven't watched La La Land, please do. It's got some really good, obviously La La Land's in that was involved in that Academy Awards mix up with, and so
That's
with
right. I remember that. Yeah.
I think it was the Green Letter. I can't remember the name of the movie. But La La Land was in there, and then I'm gonna go with one of my favorites is his role in The Big Short, Andy.
Hmm.
This is about the 2008 financial crisis, and he played a character that was trying to push shorting the market to Steve Carell and a bunch his investing group. He was just a small part of a large ensemble there, but his character is so memorable in it, and he plays it really well. So those are my five: Project Hail Mary, Crazy Stupid Love, The Nice Guys, La La Land, and The Big Short. Now I had two honorable mentions, and you may not know this, with some people. He was in Remember the Titans. He had a role in that
Great
one.
movie. Yeah.
And then of course Barbie, where he played Ken, and of course one of the favorite. If you haven't watched the part about "I'm Just Ken," the song "I'm Just Ken," you go Google that on YouTube, or Google it, watch it on YouTube or whatever. It's just awesome that song. So those are mine, Andy. Did you have any like Ryan Gosling memorable moments? I know you dream of him a lot, but
I do. So honestly, like of the movies you listed there, I only know the first one you mentioned. I've heard of the others, but I haven't watched them, to be honest with you. And I didn't really know Ryan Gosling very well until relatively recently. I just hadn't seen his movies. But where I saw him and I was like, this guy's great, was just pretty recently when I watched The Fall Guy, which
oh
I
yeah.
thought was great. It was fun, it was silly, it was action, went by very fast, and brought back an 80s TV show in a really fun new way. I thought it was great. And after I watched it, I was like, who is this guy? I really like this guy. And I really, really enjoyed him in Project Hail Mary. So you've given me a little short list of movies here to watch. So I've got some homework to do.
What the Big Short one, Andy? If you haven't watched that movie, you need to go watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that required viewing for you, Andy.
All right. I've got a list. I've had a few movies recently I've been told I must watch. So I've got my
Okay,
homework cut
well,
out for me.
whoever gave you those lists, they're wrong. Just listen to what I say.
Strawdy, when you hear this podcast, just know that it was Dave Pounder who told me to bump your recommendations for his.
All right, Andy, let's go through a quick round of world headlines, please.
All
I don't
right.
want to spend a whole lot of time on this.
Yeah.
But you mentioned about your weekend activities. Were you on the National Mall giving up praise and prayers, Andy?
I wasn't, oddly enough, I kind of keep my faith in my home, and then try and live it out, but I didn't go out and celebrate it or make any crazy old videos or anything.
Was it a new video or was it a repeat of an old video, Andy?
Dave, whatever do you mean? Please explain this. Those that are listening have no idea what you're talking about.
So there's a national look, there's on the National Mall, there's a lot of different things. There used to be a big Roe v. Wade protest that would always come out. Now that that's been overturned, no longer there. But the there's a lot of fellowship this weekend. I don't know if it was the National Prayer Day or whatever they were calling it, but they lined up on the National Mall and they had speeches or videos from the likes of Hegseth and the likes of Rubio. And then they had Donald Trump on there, Andy. And, look, I mean, for a man who professes that the Bible is his most favorite book,
Even
and
more than the art of the deal. Even more than
even
the art of the
more
deal.
than the art of the deal,
Yeah.
and he never wants to just um, cite his favorite Bible verse because he has so many, Andy.
Yeah.
It's unfair to just cite one many, and so, for anybody who doesn't get that reference, please search Donald Trump's favorite Bible verse. Just search it, and you guarantee you come up with a bunch of things. It's a great video. But they were on the National Mall this weekend, and Trump gave a video, and I think it's the same video he used previously. So he didn't. He loves his face so much, Andy. He can't even bother to come up with a new video. I don't know.
Well,
Fun
Dave,
time.
when you get it right, you get it right. You know what I mean? When you make a good prayer video and you nail it, like just keep recycling that puppy because it's the best. It's the best. Like the president himself, it's the very best there is. As Bret Hitman
Yeah.
Hart say, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. That is our POTUS, Dave. That is our POTUS.
This is definitely true. So, okay, Andy, let's go to another thing. In a primary, there's a lot of primaries going on
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
In Louisiana, Senator Bill Cassidy lost. This is notable because he was voted to impeach President Trump from January 6th.
right.
And Trump has gone hard against him, and two other Republicans are going to be moving forward for the GOP nomination for that Senate race. Um, Trump still has a lot of sway in some of these elections. It's fucking amazing, Andy.
Yeah, we see it in Indiana. It's not it's him and his fans that come out and vote, especially in primaries that aren't usually, you know, there's not a huge turnout for primaries, right? So
Right.
if you can motivate people, get them to show up and vote, you get to win. And look, Trump has a lot of money, right? And that's one of the things Republicans are excited about for November is there is a lot of money in the MAGA Inc. Fundraising that has come together, and Republicans are hoping he unleashes that in the general election to get people to come out and support Republican candidates. And he's using it to influence and get people to support him and his agenda into office. And look, these are free and fair elections, right? Even though when the president loses, they're always rigged. The reality is Americans coming out and voting. And it's a reminder to all that don't like the direction of this country right now, like you have to get out to vote in November. Like if you don't show up, others will. And they're showing up in these primaries, Dave. You're seeing people lose, you're seeing people win that support the president. Big bellwether. It's going to be the Thomas Massey primary in Kentucky.
I was just going to bring that one up, Andy,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Thomas Massey, who big proponent of pushing for the Epstein files and the Epstein list. He's facing the full wrath of Trump now, and you're right. There's a lot of money out there for sure on that front. Andy, another key article coming or a key piece of news. There's reporting this weekend that, yeah, I think we've previously discussed Trump is suing the IRS for
yeah,
$10 billion, $10 billion,
yeah,
Dr. Evil thing, because they released leaked his tax records back, I think, in his first term. I think this was what it was. So he's suing now. Andy, the president is suing the federal government for the release of his tax records, which used to be pretty common. Trump had said he was going to release his tax records. So he's suing his own government right now. And the people who are in positions to push back against him are people that he's put in position. So it's a little weird there. I don't know if you'd call that a conflict of interest, Andy, but
the conflict of interest.
he's basically gonna fuck the American people because they really, So, but Andy, here's the catch. He's out of the goodness of his heart. He's agreed, or it's been discussed that he's agreed that he won't do that, but he wants to create a fund out of that to pay back the people who have been targeted that are allies of his.
That's
And
right.
most notably in that, Andy, are the J6 rioters.
Yeah,
So he would give money, the federal government would now give money to the J6 rioters. Andy, this is going to break the bank, I think, Andy.
I
This is
mean, it's unbelievable, Dave. It's unbelievable. A president that calls about lawlessness, right? President wants to talk about the radical left, wants to erase from our memories the fact that his supporters literally stormed the Capitol on January 6th. I mean, it happened violently with threats of death to the vice president, to the Speaker of the House at the time. And we want to erase that from history, celebrate that action as a glorious day of patriotism, and now pay those same people. It's an unbelievable crime. What is happening before our very eyes? And it's not limited to that. We've seen other allies of the president be paid off heavily from the Department of Justice, but with the complicity of the Department of Justice at the cost of the American people. It's disgusting.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. But this is not a good storyline.
No.
Uh, so we'll see what comes next. But this continued like
Theft.
whitewashing of the J6 rioters. Just fucking watch the videos. Just fucking watch the videos, people. I mean, this is not digital manipulation. These people were really storming the Capitol and looking to seriously hurt members of Congress and the vice president, all because the president continued to fan the flames and to this day continues to deny the election results as we see. So,
And will again come November,
and,
David. Like,
and will again come November,
yeah,
Andy. So,
yeah, we can't lose sight of the fact of what's going to happen. So we're prepared for that. All of this buyout is reinforcing. I need your support. When I lose, I'm counting on you guys, and he is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Andy, America, get out and vote, please. And look, I know typically you're like, well, my guy isn't, my GOP representative isn't part of this group. Andy, they're all complicit
yeah,
because not one of them stands up to the president and his grifting of like his fleecing of America.
yeah,
Andy, it is unbelievable all the damage he's done. And we should look, I'm not saying all the Democrats are great. I'm not saying that I believe in all what they say, but there needs to be consequences for these Republicans who are fucking cowards.
yeah,
They're fucking cowards.
yeah,
And we need political reform. So, okay. So America, get out and vote. And I'm sorry. Let's vote. We need to vote blue to get these guys out of office.
yeah.
So,
That's right. That's right.
okay. And we are not Democrats. Andy and I are not fucking Democrats.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
yeah.
So, okay, Andy, let's wrap up on some sports.
All right.
What do you think about that?
I like it. I like it.
You've been in Oklahoma a lot. You've been talking a lot about Oklahoma
Yeah,
and your fond memories there. The Oklahoma City Thunder are
yeah,
one of four left in the NBA playoffs. It's a long fucking playoffs, but the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to play the San Antonio Spurs in one semifinals, and then last night the Cleveland Cavaliers won Game 7 of their playoff series against Detroit, and they're going to be playing the New York Knicks, Andy.
yeah,
This is going to be one in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City, who won it last year, and has a very young team, and now the two-time uh, league MVP, Shea Gillis Alexander. He's going to be going up against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. That's going to be an amazing matchup. And then you have one of the league's preeminent teams though they haven't won a title in years, the New York Knicks
yeah.
against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this is not the Cleveland Cavaliers, folks. So it's going to be a pretty exciting playoff series this year, Amy. But I know you're not going to watch, but it's still fun.
It is still fun, and it's big teams. I mean, you said you're defending champs in Oklahoma City Thunder. And look, the Thunder are great for many reasons, but great to see the state of Oklahoma with a dominant sports team, right? It's the only pro sports team they have, like Premier League level sports team, and they could make a back-to-back run. It's awesome.
Yep.
And the Spurs, look, a team that we saw growing up, win championships, be great, great again, young superstar player. Talked a little bit about that last week. The Knicks, just a storied franchise, and the Cavs. I mean, they've all gone through ups and downs over the years. Four great teams to duke it out towards the end. I would rather see the Pistons get back in there over Cleveland, but still great. And I'm excited. I would like to see a Knicks Thunder final myself, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, the league's in pretty good shape. I mean, you don't have the Lakers, you don't have the Celtics, you don't have some of these other teams, but you have a lot of youth. And look, I'm going to tell you, we talked about tanking
Yeah, yeah,
last week. San Antonio had a couple years of tanking, and they were rewarded with it. They got three pretty high draft picks, but you still got to hit those draft picks, and they
yeah,
did. The in Oklahoma City also tanked, but they tanked for like 2 to 3 years. That was their window, 2 to 3 years to replenish and rebuild. And that's the difference between teams who tank 6, 7, 8 years that we've had. The Washington Wizards are an example of that. I mean, they continue to just be terrible.
yeah.
But it's exciting to see that playoff. All right, so we have that coming up. Andy, we also I watched some golf this weekend. You had the PGA Championship, which is one of the majors there. I was struck by one thing. Look, the winner was great. He had an amazing 64 foot putt to seal the deal on I think the 17th hole. First British national to win the PGA Championship, I think in over 100 years, which is crazy. But Andy, I was struck by something. The crowd there, usually for a major championship, is really like huge. I mean, you see rows of people on some of these holes. I was struck by the crowd here. It was almost empty.
Really?
Uh, I don't mean almost empty, but I would say it was probably at 60% of what I would normally expect. They usually they put up bleachers around some of these holes. Some of the seats were not full. I don't know if it was the venue. I don't know if it was attending sports events or just getting out of control in terms of pricing and gouging and things there. But man, I was really struck by that. I'm gonna have to check the attendance numbers a little bit later. So
I could say I've never sat and watched golf on television, and I feel pretty confident saying I never will. But I'm glad that you did, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And it's always exciting to see somebody at the top of their game winning things. And so good. These are important updates because I have no idea otherwise what's happening in the world of sports.
yeah, yeah, I just find it interesting. Now they're saying it was sold out, but man, if that was sold out, I don't know. So okay, Andy, and then the last thing I'll just wrap up with on this. I have gone to some golf events. I went to when we lived in Florida. We went to the TPC, the Players Championship at one of the iconic golf courses,
Yeah.
where it's got that 17th hole, which is the Island Green. It is pretty fun. I mean, we enjoyed. Tiger Woods was playing, so we followed him around, but that was pretty crowded. So. Um, all right, Andy, last thing I'll say is lacrosse had their big weekend here. Second round of the playoffs, four teams now going to the final four. Only reason I say this because it's typically a Memorial Day tradition. Saturday you'll have the final four games, so it is going to be the teams are Syracuse, again a perennial power there. Notre Dame, who's come on, they've won two championships in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
This could be 3 and 4. You have also Princeton from the Ivy League. They beat Penn State. That was a really good game. And then you have the last team is Duke. So the ACC has three of the four teams in the Final Four. So going to be an interesting weekend. And then the final is always on Memorial Day, which coincides with something we do fun for Memorial Day ourselves, Andy. So
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to get to that today or not, Dave, but you're right. I'm looking forward to that. And I think lacrosse, no surprise in those teams that are there, right? No big shockers, but it's exciting to see. And it is fun to see, again, championship level play. Like you said, college lacrosse is really where it's at, and pretty cool to see this happening.
Yeah, college lacrosse, like we've talked about the PLL, and here's again, we've talked about how stupid the PLL has been over the, like, I think the concept of the Premier Lacrosse League, which was created as a rival to the Major League Lacrosse, which had been around for years, and then ultimately took it out of business. They merged together. They they came out with great fanfare in
Yeah,
the first couple of years, but they've just really struggled. And maybe they're doing fine on all their metrics and all this other stuff. Maybe they get a lot of social media hits and all this other stuff. But I have to tell you, they used to kick off after Memorial Day. College lacrosse, which is premier in the lacrosse world, let them finish. Then they transition to, their season, and then they would inexplicably have bye weeks in the middle of these things, and just extended the league so that their championship was played during NFL season, which is going to lose every year.
yeah,
This year they decided to start early so they wouldn't have to fight the NFL. The problem is they're competing against the NCAA playoffs, which again, they're going to lose against.
yeah,
So I don't know. Look, they'll probably be successful and they're probably making some people money, but man, they've got to figure out something better here. I just don't know. The problem is that lacrosse, for most, even the players, it's not a full-time job.
right.
Some of the top players will make a full-time career out of it. These other guys are not, and so they can't play a weekday game. They can't play on a Tuesday night because they're probably working another job.
Yeah,
So I think that's where they really struggle. So they play these Friday and Saturday games. And it's just kind of tough, Andy. I've completely lost interest in it. We have a team here in Carolina. I just maybe we'll go. I don't know. So,
yeah,
but
yeah. Since my boys have moved past high school sports, I've given up any interest in keeping up with the PLL, to be honest.
there you go. Yeah, I love just be directing. Just be
Yeah,
direct. All right, that's gonna wrap up the pod, Andy. We didn't get too negative today. That was good.
yeah, it was. You moved us through some of the awesome things happening politically pretty quickly. There's a lot happening. I like the movie rundown. I like the Ryan Gosling celebration. I think it's kind of our second time doing that in a way. So fun to see him doing well. I'm glad you got to see the movie. And Dave, besides our big Monday activities, maybe we'll talk about it next week. Big movie coming out too.
Big movie. So let's get ourselves ready for that coming up. So we have our big Memorial Day Ruck March coming up. We'll put some more details at that. And I think we should challenge our listeners as well to
Yeah,
join us, Amy. But
yeah.
we can talk about that later.
All right.
Wednesday, we are going to go back to our politics. How would we fix politics, Andy? So that'll we skipped that last week. That was bad on Dave. And you can see I got a tail here, Andy. It's great. So. For those watching, you'll see a tail, one of the dogs. But all right, Andy, we'll wrap up for Monday. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch up with you on Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.